Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today is the price variance show, but I have a big announcement first. So I'm going to just put Mark on hold for a second. And I just wanted to announce that I hit the 2,000 subscriber mark last week on Tuesday. So that means that this Tuesday, I'm going to do my giveaway where you can win one of these three great books.
Wow.
I recommend this one because it is the most expensive.
Yeah.
This one's not so great, but this one's a big one too. So these three books, you can win one of them. I'll be doing my giveaway, a live giveaway in the evening of tomorrow. So you have your one last chance to go to the video that's linked
Alan, you
in the
said
description,
tomorrow, yeah.
where you can, yeah, tomorrow. You can link to it in the it's linked in the description. You can go there and you can enter in. So this last chance. I warned you. This is the last chance you can get one of these great books for free. I don't care where you are in the world. I will send it by dog sled and it will get there. Okay. So yeah, these are the books that you can win. So hopefully, you'll enter in last chance. Okay. That's the big announcement that I had to say. Now let's get on with the show where we're going to talk about auctions and we're going to talk about how to get good deals on the internet, how we're going to get good deals on real life, how we're just going to get the comics that we want to get, and we're just talking about some of the cool ideas on how to find the best prices. So without further ado, I'm going to invite my guest, which is Mark, who's my partner in crime. Mark, what are we going to be talking about? Which one are we talking about
first of all, Alan, congratulations on 2,000 subscribers. Really well
Thanks.
done. Very well deserved. I don't know anybody who works harder. He does a video. I don't know how he does it. He runs a full-time business and he does a video a day on YouTube. Phenomenal. I know he only sleeps 3 hours a night, so that probably helps. Right. So this week we're doing how to get a deal, how to get a bargain on comics. And I think we should start off by talking about probably one of the biggest marketplaces out there, eBay. People moan to me, oh, you can't get a deal on eBay. You can get deals on eBay. I have got loads of deals on eBay, loads and loads of them. So it is very definitely possible to get deals on eBay. It requires patience and it requires a bit of hard work. But if you're prepared to put it in, you can get deals. Yeah. So my first advice for eBay is put the work in. Yeah. So identify, generally with eBay, you're going there and you're searching for something you want. Yeah. So, you want a particular comic, you type it in, you come up with a load of results on eBay. The first thing is I'd say is make sure that you know what condition you want it in and what sort of price you want to pay. Yeah, have that set in your mind before you start. And if nobody's selling it for the price you want, that doesn't matter. Come back in a week's time because this is where patience comes in. Somebody will put it up there as long as you're not doing something completely ridiculous. So you can set up searches on eBay so that it'll search for this item and take a bit of time, patience, look for the grade you want, the price you want to pay, and eventually you will find somebody that's selling it. The other thing is, I would say you get the best bargains on auctions. Okay,
Yeah,
not on the buy it nows. So the buy it nows, the guy has set his price and he's usually knows what he's doing and he's set it at you're not going to get a huge bargain. So if you really, really want to commit, you can go and do a buy it now, but you won't get a real bargain. All the real bargains that I've had on eBay are on auctions, okay, where the starting bid or the reserve bid is well below the fair market value. Yeah. So and there's two ways you can. So if you go on and you're looking for an item and you see it and it's on an auction, and it's well below what you're prepared to pay and it's well below the fair market value, then of course there'll be other people that potentially have spotted that as well. And also the auction may be not finished for 5 or 6 days. Yeah. So one trick I've actually learned recently and has been really successful is where there's been auctions that have said, you know, it's on a 6-day or 7-day auction, it's on day 6, and they've got a price up, and it's a minimum price, and it's on a 6-day auction. But it's got an all best offer on it on the auction. What I do is go in and offer them about 5 or 10% more than the minimum price to see if they'll accept it. That way it doesn't go to auction. You don't have to wait 6 days and then sit there and try and snipe it. And quite a lot of the time, people will accept that offer, and you get something really, really, you know, I got a first appearance of Abomination for half fair market value last week by doing that. So it was up for auction. I looked at it, it was half fair market value was the minimum price. It was on a 6-day auction. I thought, loads of people are going to see this. Abomination's quite hot at the moment. I don't want to wait 6 days because I think it's going to go for more than that. So I offered the guy 5%, £5 more than he was asking, and he accepted it. So
Yeah,
that's one
that
of my
works. I do that one a lot. Actually, what you mentioned right at the beginning, I think needs emphasis. Where you said, be patient. Believe it or not, when I first got back into buying comics back in like 2017, 2018, where I was really going full force, where I like, had all this extra money and I was just like, oh, I'm going to go full force and get all the keys that I wanted. I wasn't being patient. So I would just go to the buy it nows and I'd buy it at the crazy price that people had. That was a really bad strategy, just a terrible strategy. I was lucky because they were really low prices compared to what the same comics go for now. But you know, it's a bad strategy to not have that patience. What I personally like to do is you can actually win on the buy it nows. Believe it or not, there's still wins you can have.
yeah.
What I will do is when the buy it now, and generally what I found with eBay sellers is they will put a buy it now that is anywhere from 20 to 30% above fair market value. I think that's kind of the rule of thumb, it seems like these eBay sellers, which is, it's not a very realistic rule. But what you can do is I usually will email them, like, you know, how you can contact them through the item.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, hey, look, fair market value is only $200. Why are you listing it at 600? You know, it's a little bit off. You're a little bit off. And then I'll sort of talk them down on the price, and then start that communication. Usually I can get them to send me an offer. I said, hey, would you be willing to take $200? And often they did. I actually just had one. The fair market value was about $400. They had it listed at $600, which was crazy.
Yeah.
I offered them $250.
Wow.
I said, you know, would you do $250? And they accepted. So, really, it was a Jughead #1. I was like, what? And it's like rare one. There's only 3 in existence. It's like a really rare comic. It's Canadian edition. And they accepted. I was like, oh wow, I can't believe they accepted that. I really lowballed it. So, you know, you never know what the motivations are behind the seller. They might accept that offer.
Yeah, sometimes they just want the cash. Cash is always
cash is always key.
And just another thing that I do is if I find, so like that Abomination one I described, the first appearance of Abomination, I thought this is a really good price. It's about half FMV, and this person's just sold it to me. I wonder what else they're selling. So you can go and click and you can have a look. And one of the things I always like is when it's not a comic dealer who's selling, when it's just a private individual who's got a few comics and they're trying to sell them. You don't know where they've got them from. You know, they're selling, you know, I don't know, trolls and toys, and, you know, and they've got about 10 comics for sale. And with the one with the, I looked, and they'd actually got the first cover appearance of Abomination at about half fair market value.
Nice.
And they'd got the first Hulk in Astonishing Tales, I think number 60. All about half by market value. So I immediately went back onto them and asked and did the same on those two and just offered slightly more than they'd got them on the bid. And they accepted again. So it's always worth, when you find a seller that's good value, is what else are
Mhm.
they selling?
Yeah. And often if you can do that and add one more point to that, because I do the same thing. One more point is like what I'll do is I'll pick like 4 or 5 items from that same seller.
Yeah.
And some of the items might be a little bit overpriced, like where, most of the items are good price, but maybe one is like slightly above
Yeah.
price, but it's hard to get. What I'll do is I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to buy all these items from you.
Yeah.
Can you do me a bundle? Can you give me a package deal?
Okay.
And usually then you can get like, usually they'll knock off another 10-20% just because you've gotten a bundle deal because you're buying a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually doing that right now with with actually not even like a small mom and pop kind of guy, with a big vendor. They
Yeah.
have a bunch of comics. They're actually at reasonable price already, but I'm saying, hey, I'm going to buy a bunch from you. What can you do? Can you like give me a little bit better price because I'm
Yeah.
buying more from you?
Yeah. No,
And it's amazing. People will do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So I I always look for the every little ounce that I can get out of to get the best price. And one of the things like I kind of want to bring up something just quickly, and this was just something that happened with Alex the comic quarter. I'm not sure if you saw what happened with him.
no.
He went to an auction, not an auction, but like a flea market,
Yeah.
and he was picking up all these pulps. Okay, these pulp magazines that are like the first Buck Rogers and stuff like that. Like, and he was picking them up for like $20.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Okay.
like normally it's a $2,000 book
Yeah.
for $20, and and people admonished him, like they sort of said, hey, look, you should have told them that that's not a fair price and blah blah blah. It is not about that to me. Like, I only have like so much money in my life, that I'll have. And I want to get all the crazy books. Like, I'm a hoarder. I want to get all the books. And my goal is to get the best price. You, as a seller, your goal is to get the best price for your sell. But I don't, the buyer has no obligation to tell you that, that that you're not giving the best price.
I mean,
Or that the price is,
I have to say, I think it's a bit crazy. I do not
yeah.
go to the cheap supermarket, Aldi or Lidl we've got in the UK, and tell them you're underselling that can of beans because in Tesco's they're selling it for 40p and you're selling it for 25. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So my point is, don't feel guilt for trying to get a better price, and always try to get the best price. Um, there's actually a big trick with that. One of the things that I do on eBay is I like certain artists like Matt Baker,
Yeah.
Schomburg, and all these kind of key artists. And what I look for is key issues that people don't realize that are key issues. So Matt Baker is one of those ones where in the golden age, they didn't assign, oh, this is a Matt Baker, this is a Schomburg. You have to kind of judge it by the art, like who did it. And then there's databases where you can look it up to verify that that's correct. So what I'll do is I'll search Matt Baker on eBay, and you'll get all these vendors that know it's a Matt Baker. So
Yeah.
the prices are crazy. There's crazy prices. But then what I'll do is I'll find out what that comic is.
Yeah.
And then I'll take that and then search for that comic.
Oh, smart.
And then what happens is you get all these people that might not know that it's a Matt Baker cover or Schomburg cover, and they'll sell it for cheap. I just picked up something where it's easily like, it's an LB Cole cover, easily a $500 book, picked it up for $60. It's just because they don't know what they have. And I'm not in the position to inform them.
But look, they wanted $60 for it. You gave them $60 for it. You're happy.
They're happy. And they're happy. Exactly.
I don't have a problem with that. It's the marketplace. You're selling, I'm buying. Buyer beware, caveat emptor, but also seller, know what you're selling.
Yeah, know what you're selling. Yeah, so that's something that I always look like that extra level. I take that one extra search, and then you can find those great deals. Generally you don't want to buy from people that know what they're selling. It sounds bad, but yeah.
That's not
So
always the case, but yes, I
yeah,
agree. All you get, you want to buy from somebody who really wants to sell,
yeah, a motivated seller.
a motivated seller. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, I mean, I've gotten some pretty great deals because of motivated sellers,
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
the other thing I'd say is on the auction one, sometimes they don't have a best or nearest offer. You have to go through the auction. So you get to the
mhm,
point where you've got to, what I'd say is set your maximum price. Do not get
yeah,
into a battle, with somebody and get FOMO and think I really want another one will come.
yeah,
Yeah. So what I do, and I know you do this as well, is you wait until
mhm,
the last few seconds. You've got your maximum bid, assuming
mhm,
that maximum bid has not been passed at that point, and in the last couple of seconds you hit it. You put your maximum bid in the last couple of seconds, and it means that it's going to time out. And if you put it in early, somebody has got an opportunity to overbid you. Yeah, if you
yeah,
put it in the
yeah,
last couple of seconds, you've got less chance of that happening. So
yeah. I
but
do that all the time. Snipe the books, right? But uh, there's so many times where it's so funny because a lot of people do that. That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
very common
yeah,
method, of
yeah,
course. But it's really funny. Like I've actually seen it sometimes where they said, "Oh, you lost this auction." I'm like, "Really? How did I lose?" Like I was over what the
yeah,
final thing was,
yeah,
and then I refresh a couple of times, and it says, "Oh, sorry, we actually you won." It's like I was like, "Oh, phew." It's like sometimes like that last bid, like I guess they get so many last second bids
yeah, yeah,
that it takes a little while for their algorithm to kind of
yeah.
kick in.
That's why you need to know what your maximum bid is, because it can be sitting at say $100 and you might be prepared to pay 200. Always
Mhm.
put 200 in, because it's
Yeah,
only going to sell you at the lowest price. You might still get it for 120, but you're going to be really kicking yourself if it sells for 130 and you didn't put your 200 bid in.
yeah. I mean, I have had it where I was just shocked by that last 5 seconds. There was one book just recently. It was the first appearance of Woody Woodpecker, New Funnies number 64. So I put a bid in of 1,500. The bid was like, I think it was like 300 at the time. So I put like way above, like I'm like way above what the current bid was. So I'm like, I got this book.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
is my book.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then within that 5 seconds, it went to $8,000.
What?
Like, what the heck happened here? Like, it was just like I got blown away. Like I was blown away. Like not even close. Within 5 seconds.
I
Within
bet if
five
you,
seconds.
I bet
What
if
the
you
heck?
were the seller watching that auction, you were quite pleased.
Oh yeah. I imagine the seller was panicking up to that last 5 seconds. It's like this book is going to sell for way undervalued. But yeah, it went well for the seller. The seller did incredibly well. I was like shocked. That's that happens, right? Where these last 5 seconds can really change things.
The other thing I'd say about eBay is do engage in a conversation with some of the sellers. It can be beneficial.
Oh yeah.
One of my best ever purchases, I bought a few Alan Class comics off a guy. I bought I collect Alan
Mm-hmm.
Class, and there was this guy, and I think he was selling them, and he was in the Netherlands. Anyway, I bought about 4 or 5 from him. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Thanks for these. Where did you get them from?" He said, "Oh, I've got a load more of these. Are you in?" And this was just in the email.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Okay, send me pictures." And he'd got sort of about
Oh,
200 of
a
them.
run. Yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Well," and they're all in really good condition. And I said to him, "How much do you want for these?" And he came back and he said, "I can't remember. It was something like, it was like 30p ish, 30p each." And he said, "I'll throw postage in." And there was it was they're
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
heavy
yeah.
comics. And that was one of my best ever deals. and that just came from, you know, having a bit of a conversation with the person that you were buying from.
Well, I had a really funny experience. Same idea, same idea. Where one of my viewers keeps on saying, "Oh, you know, I know you like Good Girl Earth." And did you ever see this comic called Sensational Rocket Girls? Okay, so I'm like, you know, I saw that it has a really great cover, just really brilliant cover. So I kept on searching on eBay, never comes up, never comes up. Finally, it comes up. I'm like, oh wow, I can maybe pick it up, and it was all cover price. And they had a bunch of items, and it was all from the same artist that did Sensational Cover Girl, the Sensational Rocket Girl. So I got like I put all those into my basket, and you know, I asked the guy, you know, can you combine shipping, because the shipping, you know, it didn't combine.
Yeah,
It kept on adding up. The shipping was like this massive number, and I was like, that's not good. So I wrote the guy, and the guy writes back. I noticed that his name, like, you know, his name was the first name of the artist. I'm like, hey, you wouldn't happen to be the artist for these books? He said, yeah, I am. So I bought the books directly from the artist.
oh
So I
nice.
said, hey, would you mind signing them?
Oh
Would you
great.
mind signing them? And there's a couple other issues that I'm looking for. He said, oh yeah, I'll throw those in. It was like the best deal. Like he gave me like a really good price. Like
That's nice.
you know, it was like over $100, like with all the shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
He went down to $60, and he threw in extra comics, and he signed everything. I was like, this is the greatest deal. And you know, I said, hey, you know, I do this YouTube channel, and I'm going to try to get him onto my channel as well.
Yeah, do.
You know, so it's like it's all good. Like, you know, it was just the, those conversations. You never know what they'll lead to. Is my point. Yeah.
Okay, so that's eBay. Let's talk about Whatnot. Now, I don't know how much purchasing you've done on Whatnot, Alan. I'm not sure you're a big Whatnot.
I've never purchased anything on Whatnot. Okay. I've watched. I did watch one Whatnot auction. One. That's it. It was the one for the ASM. No, Amazing Fantasy 15. You know how they had that big, you know, that big thing, and everybody. I watched that, and everybody was complaining about that auction, but I think they actually got a good price personally. But that's my own opinion. You know, that was it. That's my experience with Whatnot.
Okay, I use Whatnot quite a lot. Now you have to be. My first thing is there's a load of rubbish out there. Okay, most of the sellers are selling
dollar bin.
Yeah, dollar bin stuff for $5. Okay, so be very careful to avoid that. And there's a load of them doing gimmicky stuff, you know, so they'll run mystery box auctions, and they'll have some sort of raffle thing whereby if you buy this box, you get a raffle ticket that gets you a chance to win such and such. So there's all sorts of stuff like that going on. Don't do any of those. You'll just end up with a load of comics you don't really want that aren't worth very much. Okay, I know this because I've done it. Okay, so avoid all that. Right, the other thing I'd say about Whatnot is do not go to the big promoted sellers. Okay, you know, the Comic Toms, all those, forget them. Right, Gem Mints, when you go and if you look at them, they've got 80 to 100 viewers watching. You are not going to get a bargain. Okay, you're not. They know what they're selling. They've got a load of people watching, and if they put something up and it's worth anything, it's going to go for what it's worth, or if not a bit more. Okay, do not watch the big sellers. What you need to do is go and find the little guys who are either just starting up on Whatnot, and they're keen to get followers, and you want them to have 20 or less people watching, preferably 10 or less. Yeah. Also, for me, they need to be selling, you know, advertising as selling Bronze or Silver Age, because I'm not interested in the modern stuff.
Yeah. The modern books are cheap.
Yeah, so you want to go and find them, and you want to find somebody who's selling really decent comics and is selling them at a decent price in a decent condition. And there's a hot, you know, I've gone through a whole raft of restrictions here, and it's narrowing down what's available on what I would say. Of the Whatnot content, 3% of it is worth watching, is worth going for. But when you find that 3%, you can get some absolutely fantastic deals. Yeah.
Mhm.
I picked up an X-Men annual one graded at 2.5 for $1,000 on the Whatnot auction a couple of weeks ago. It's but you've got to be patient. It's like the eBay thing. You've got to watch. You've got to wade through a lot of rubbish to find them. Now, the only problem is that Whatnot now are distorting the market, because what they are doing is they've got these sellers that they promote. Yeah. And they're doing their Whatnot exclusives, and they're giving them to these sellers to sell them as part of what they're selling. Now, what's happening with this is it's not an even marketplace. So if I was a new seller on Whatnot, and I'm a good seller, so I'm offering good content,
Yeah.
so on, I would expect to go in, make some deals, get more viewers, and gradually grow in that marketplace. But what Whatnot are doing now is they're distorting that. So the viewers are all going to the promoted stuff, and these smaller, better, I would say some of the better sellers are not getting the chance to properly grow because the market is being distorted. It's market manipulation. And one of the best sellers I found on there, who was selling really good Silver Age stuff, he was growing quite nicely, and he's now stopped because of this unfair.
He just got sort of ignored.
Yeah, because he wasn't because it's a distorted marketplace because of all this promotional stuff. He wasn't getting the viewing he deserved, wasn't getting the viewers he deserved, and he wasn't growing fast enough because he wasn't in that clique of people promoted by Whatnot. So Whatnot needs to be very careful.
Small seller, you need that 20+ number of people watching you.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna get the good deals. Yeah, and they're not going to.
So you want to grow, you want to get to that 50, 100 viewers, but they're never going to get there because they've distorted the marketplace, which I think for Whatnot is a mistake, because I think they'll get a short-term gain, but I think in the long term they'll kill off their marketplace. So it's an interesting.
Yeah. What they're doing is they're becoming an elitist marketplace rather than actually a marketplace for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that you only can go so far with that.
Yes.
Okay, so how about we talk about some more stuff on your channel?
Okay.
Because thanks again. We'll probably talk about I have a personal one that I want to talk about, which is heritage auctions. I want to talk about that on yours.
Yeah,
and you're going to talk about some of the.
I'm going to talk about auctions in the UK where I've had some fantastic results.
I know about some of those results. It's pretty crazy. I've watched all your videos on the recent one that you were doing. That's really exciting. We're going to talk about that on your channel.
And the other thing I quite like to talk about, Alan, is conventions, because I think you came up with a very interesting approach to how to deal with comic conventions.
Yeah, so we can talk about that too. So lots of great content on Mark's channel. Click the link below. And if you don't see it below, just click the one in the description as well. So either one of those will work. It'll go over to Mark's channel. You can check out part 2, where we talk about how to get some more amazing comics for great prices. Thanks again, Mark.
Thanks, Alan.